Hello everyone and welcome back or to my channel. Compliments of the season. Happy 2023 to you all. We start the video off in my lounge because a pretty cool opportunity has presented itself for me today. So I have the opportunity to go through to a little workshop that's close to my house, which builds something called a V8 Stealth Beetle. It's basically a VW Beetle shell which is completely reframed with cool big V8 parts and V8 motors and stuff, and it's super rad. So I'm gonna head through there now, and I figured I'd take you guys along for the drive. Now I believe there may be something else that's pretty rad at this workshop, but I'm not saying that with a definite yet because I don't know if it's still there. But if it is there, it's one of the cars I've always wanted to see. It's like a bit of a dream car. Realistically speaking, it's a dream car for most car guys. You know when you buy one, it's cheap on it, and it sometimes just don't like to fold. Hello and welcome to sunny Cape Town, South Africa, Muizenberg, Capricorn more specifically. We are at a really cool shop called 3L Engineering to do something really cool. So I've got a really awesome opportunity to come and have a look at some of the custom work that they do. And you may be curious as to what the custom work is. More specifically, they create custom V8 Beetles, or the V8 Stealth Beetle. Let's go in and let me show you a little bit. Yeah, so as we walk in, we are immediately faced with a bare bones shell or chassis of one of the stealth tuned or V8 Stealth Beetles. So as you can see, it is 100% custom made chassis wise. So it's a mixture of tube and solid. This is for the, if I'm not mistaken, this is for the LS, this chassis. Hey Pierre, am I correct? This is one for the LS, right? Yes. Okay, so I just wanted to make 100% sure. This is the chassis for the LS 1 to 3. Really cool, really custom work. So everything that you see here is custom made, all the way down to, you know, the fuel and brake lines, all the braiding stuff's done all in-house.
That is the actual chassis of the vehicle. Behind the chassis is the black section, which is chromoly. That is the engine and gearbox cradle. So the engine and gearbox cradle mounts directly onto the chassis. It's a bolt-on. So once you have a body on the car, if you want to remove everything, you unbolt the engine and gearbox cradle and drop it out the back of the vehicle like you do in the mainstream Porsches and Ferraris.
Okay, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about all of your custom wiring and loom work that you've done?
So at the moment, custom wiring, it's the original LS loom, but because the engine sits the other way around, the orientation normally is the loom comes in from the back of the engine, from the bell housing side, the gearbox side, whereas on this vehicle is the gearbox and bell housing is a transaxle, so it's at the other side. So we take the LS loom, we strip them down, and we physically shorten them and turn them around so that they now come from the front of the vehicle, or the front of the engine as opposed to the back of the engine.
Cool. I'm going to move on a little bit, show you guys a little bit more. So as you can see here is obviously the open front cab section of it, handbrake and all these things. So they will have, I'm guessing you have custom seats that go in here?
That's correct. We normally use BMW seats that fit in here. We are busy with custom made seats at the moment. Basically requests that have been asked. So it'll be a bucket seat with a ability to carry a cross-base seat belt as well. Even though they're extremely annoying, people do want them, and they'll figure out they don't want them the third time they drive the car.
So moving on, I'm going to go straight through to the LS motor that I see hanging in the back. This is the same chassis, but this is just slightly different. So this is the one that seats the Audi V8 out of the A6s and A8s. I'm not mistaken, I did ask, I promise. But here's an example of engine setup. So a lot of the guys overseas in the States will know what this is. This is an LS. So LS1 or an LS3?
This is a LS1 if I'm not mistaken.
Big boy, mated to a proper setup with this. So this is custom, right?
That's custom,
your adapter?
yes.
Okay. And then what drivetrain are you guys running on this?
This is VW transaxle.
Okay.
It's also from the Audis, and some of the combis have them in as well, if I'm not mistaken, but I speak under correction there. And we have specific clutch and pressure plates made up by TTV Racing in Europe. If you're keen to see, I can show you.
Might as well, we're here.
It's a double copper plate clutch. Absolute beautiful piece of engineering. And the benefit of this is you send engine and gearbox spec, and you end up with a clutch that is very drivable. It's not an on and off normal copper clutch that you are used to, and you can use your car for everyday driving with this.
Excuse the mic work, my arm started shaking.
Pressure plate, and you can see multiple fingers on the pressure plate. And each one comes with its own serial number, so once they've made your first prototype, it's easy. And here we go, this is the flywheel with the ring gear already attached, and the clutch bolts on here with the pressure plate.
Oh, that's cool stuff. And here we go, the moment that everyone has probably been waiting for. This is the body of the Beetle. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to give the mic back to Pierre. I'm guessing that these are locally sourced Beetle shells that you guys then completely overhaul, or you have overhauled completely?
That is correct. So basically we buy in a Beetle, try and find the best quality one, and we then cut the vehicle down to accommodate our chassis. There's some structural weld-ins that we do. It then goes to a panel shop, and they get it looking like this or that.
It's a bit dark on the inside, but what you will be able to see is that it's it has been completely gutted and stripped down on the inside. So this obviously sits straight down, gets put straight down onto the chassis. Oh, this is cool. I'm so excited by this stuff. We're going to move over to one of the other frames now. What I will do is I'm just going to quickly just that's coming soon. That's all I'm going to say. Trust me, you want to come back for that video. So this is stage 3, so to speak, of the whole build process. So as you can see here, they've started to seat in your suspension mounts and all suspension parts, brake parts and stuff as well. What are these brakes from?
That's from BMW.
Okay. And all individual free-flowing suspension parts, as you can see. And all the brake boosters and stuff like that, what's all that from?
The brake booster is from VW.
Okay.
The clutch is specifically done for us. Or the clutch master cylinder. Radiators are specifically made. So everything that you see is specifically made. Shocks, it's a standard shock, and you can see it's got a very thick shaft on it, so it's been spec'd correctly, and everything gets specifically made for the vehicle. And the beauty of having the BMW knuckles or front hubs is that anybody that wants to do brake upgrades to Brembo or associate companies, it's off-the-shelf products that are available.
I think what I'm finding, what I'm hearing about this entire, V8 Stealth Buggy project or process is that it's meant to be plug and play, relatively intuitive. They want to be able to send a chassis out to the States, for example, and the guys over there can literally drop in an LS, put it in themselves, kind of, and then go racing or go driving. Is that kind of the feel for it?
The feel is we have 2 products on offer. So we have I hate the word kit. It's an owner build vehicle, so you receive everything barring the engine, gearbox and body. So everything that you see here is basically what you will receive from us in a crate. You then unpack it, you assemble everything, you then source your own shell, cut the shell down, treat it as you want to, and find your own engine and gearbox, put it in and make it work. The other option is you come to us and you say, I'd like a complete vehicle, and we build a complete vehicle for you. and once the vehicle is finished and tested, it goes into a container and hopefully ends up at your front door.
Big hopefully, yes. No, it always ends up at the front door. Just having a quick look at all of these little feed lines, it's just so nicely done. So as you can see, the back of this is a little bit different to the other shell. So this is the shell that's going to be housing the Audi V8. Pierre, you were saying that it's got something to do with the angle that the other motor sits at, or is it the height? What is it that's...
The LS motor is a little bit longer, and it has got an enormous water pump. So we've had to remove the water pump, put an electrical water pump in, and come up with a water solution for the LS. It's very similar in size, but sadly it is a little bit longer, so we had to accommodate the length of the LS.
Out of interest, would you say that this is mid-engined, rear mid-engined?
This is completely mid-engine. The weight distribution is 60-40.
60-40.
So basically, if I take, once the engine is in and the body is on, if I take a trolley jack and I put it just behind the handbrake, and I jack this car up, I'll be able to spin the car on a single trolley jack, if the trolley jack can hold it. Bearing in mind the car comes in at under a ton.
And power-wise, what do they make on average?
The Audis, we have been very docile on the tunes because we want to deliver a drivable car and the customer can then do what they want to. On our last tune, we did, if I remember correctly, it was 462 Newton meters and 380 kilowatts, and that was at 0.6 bar boost at 5,000 RPM gated.
Power per ton is actually insane on that.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you guys have it tuned where Hat Dynamics?
Yes, Herman Hat Dynamics tunes for us.
So Hat Dynamics, obviously a lot of the South African Cape Town car guys will know them. They tune everything from your BMWs to your Hondas to your drivable VTECs. You know, anything that you have they do, but it's pretty cool to see that Herman is doing some really fun stuff with it. Is Herman tuning for you as well? Oh, it has to be Herman. That was just a genius. If you guys don't know Hat Dynamics, you can have a look at them as well. They're also linked to Mischief Garage. I know they do a lot of work together. But this has been fulfilling. I think it's the correct word. This has been exciting. I've been trying to come here for a while. I've been asking Pierre, begging Pierre. Every time I've seen him at my dad's house, I'm like, hey Pierre, let me come around, let me have a look at the cool stuff that you have. And I'm finally here, finally get to see all the cool things in person. Looking forward to actually coming back when they have one of these projects a little bit closer to completion, so I can actually film the whole process of it driving out of here. And then we'll get some really cool footage of that. We'll get some driving shots down the road, maybe go past, maybe go past the beach a little bit, just get some cool drag shots. We'll keep it legal, of course. In Mexico, we can maybe do a little bit more fun. But until then, until the next video, we'll see you then. Once again, Pierre, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.